wanted to talk about why we tend to attract this type of person, a toxic person. What do you think? I've heard some people say, "Oh, I'm like toxic bait," or "Why does this keep happening to me?" Yes, Candy.
What if it's your parents?
So that's a different story. But there's a lot of ways that we can. Are you no contact, or are you deep in it?
Yeah, I just went no contact and blocked them both it's going on 2 weeks now.
Okay.
But I can't block my ex because we still have
kids.
Yeah. But realizing how bad my parents are,
And, honestly, I feel like going no contact with parents sometimes is harder than an intimate relationship because, they're your parents. So I feel for you. And, when you feel like, first of all, I want to tell you, I'm glad that you took the steps to go ahead and try at least first and then go no contact. Because once we do, if we go back, all of our boundaries are out the window. So I know you didn't make that decision lightly, but hopefully hearing some of these things and understanding how we can heal ourselves will help you. Hey, Sharon.
Hi, Christine.
How are you?
I'm getting better, actually. I had a flu, but I'm getting better. So excuse the way I sound. But to answer your question, I think how we attract them, it has something to do with ourselves. And I always thought I was a strong person, and I'm sure that they could see that. They're attracted to that. And what it is I think that they break it down. It's something that you have to see, some kind of trauma in your life that you've had. So
yes. Hey, welcome, Myra, Rebecca, Kim, Selena, and Jeff. No, I appreciate that, and that is really true. Has anyone here heard? Everyone here has heard the term empath. Empaths get taken advantage of a lot. Who here knows that they're empathic? Yeah, almost everyone.
Yeah.
So a lot of times this compassionate, nature, this willingness to always help gets us in trouble, right?
Yeah.
It's called the savior mentality. And we want to nurture, we want to help, we want to make sure everyone else is taken care of. But in hindsight, we're really not doing ourselves any good, right?
No.
And this is how, when we have this kind of savior mentality, we tend to put other people's needs in front of our own. So we become secondary or non-existent, and that's not a really great thing. Sometimes it's because we're trying to recreate our childhood and trying to do over and do what our inner child would have wanted to do. And that's really difficult also, because empathic people sometimes feel that expressing our needs is selfish because we're trying to put other people first. So, this constant need to please people and not say no and have fears of being, disliked or rejected is terrifying. I'm so sorry, honey.
I thought I was over that. Oh, I guess I'm not.
It takes a really long time, and you're going to have good and bad days.
Yeah, it's been years.
Yeah.
I recently got into a relationship with somebody, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong sometimes when it comes down to feeling like maybe he's narcissistic too. I don't, because I know you can attract those people again if you're not totally well. And,
and a lot of times we've been so conditioned by a toxic person to only feel that or believe that we deserve this, that that's all we think we're worth.
Well, I know that I'm worth a lot more than that, but to get into another relationship like that, I just can't do it. I just could not do that. And I'm hoping that he's not like that, because sometimes it's just hard to determine, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Another characteristic trait is that empathic people are typically radically loyal. And that means that
sure.
they're always convinced or hopeful that this person is going to change. And when we watch this pattern of abuse, you guys have always heard me talk about the clock. Think about the clock. The beginning of the cycle is at 12. Everything's good. You start to notice some stuff happening at quarter after.
Right.
By the 30-minute mark, it's happening over and over and over again. By the quarter of
cycle.
mark, you're fed up and they're promising to change. And it starts from 12 again. This, the reason that these kind of cycles always stop is because we typically have very, very poor boundaries. Because we don't know how to set them, because we've never been confident enough to be able to do that. So, having these traits, though, guys, being empathic it's not bad. It's not an inherently bad thing. Loyalty, acts of service, being kind to others, they're incredible attributes. We need to surround ourselves with people who don't take advantage of them. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Right? So
I'm sorry. I didn't even know my mic was on still.
It's okay. You're okay. Hey, welcome, Hope, Kate, Diana, SWK, Caroline, and Judy. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So if we do continue to allow this to happen, right? So think about it. When we have to thrive beyond, we have to change this pattern in ourselves. Because if we don't, we start to have codependency.
Right. And I don't want that, for sure.
Right.
Because I've been through that already, and I'm not going to go through that again. And I think I make myself very clear to him. And I just don't know. There's something about the relationship. It just makes me really standoffish. It's been like 4 years since I've even been in a relationship. And for me to let anybody in like that is really rare for me. Let people get that close. And I know you got to let open to people too. You have to be, in order to survive, to really thrive, you have to trust again.
Yes.
And I have, but I'm just leery of it, and that's something that I didn't realize I still felt a lot of emotion toward that. And hopefully I can get through that now that I have some kind of support, that I can see. I've done it all myself. I've encased myself in a lot of different ways of finding out about me, and what traumas I had when I was a child. And I found out a lot of stuff. He taught me a lot of things, the first person I was with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think that they're there for. So maybe this one is trying to teach me something too. Unfortunately, I don't want to go through that, though.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course.
But thank you for letting me share.
You're welcome. So when we have, emotional dependency, or codependency, as it's called, that's deriving our personal happiness and our safety by prioritizing your partner's needs above your own. It manifests because we have a lack of boundaries and psychological reliance on this partner. Emotionally dependent people easily empathize with their partner's emotional needs and problems, right? We're the fixer. And again, this is not a negative thing. However, codependency does not refer to our love or care for other people. It's when our identity and our happiness are contingent upon another person's happiness. Let me repeat that. Codependency does not refer to our love and our care about a person. It refers to our identity when our identity and our happiness are contingent on the other person's happiness. Yes, Hope.
So I'm sorry. If You are a very caring person. You are an empathetic person. So I'm a little sick. So what are I know boundaries are really important, but what are what are some good boundaries to keep yourself out of those things until you heal? Like just avoid anyone that shows those types of behaviors, or
How
what
how
is,
like you're talking about a personal boundary?
yeah, a personal boundary to protect yourself till you heal and you're not like that anymore,
A a personal boundary could be I'm choosing to surround myself with people who make me feel safe, people who make me feel valid. And if I don't find that out almost immediately upon an interaction with a person, they're not worth my time.
Well, it's like I found these people that were valid and they made me feel safe and everything. And then they just flipped the script on me like out of nowhere. Is that, I don't know if that's narcissistic or what the hell that was. I was just like taken off guard. Like, what is this?
Maybe that's just who they are.
Yeah, I'll take that as a sign for them telling me who they are then.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay attention to signs. Yes, Diana.
Um, I get into the codependent mode so easily. It's like every guy that I've ever dated, it's like the only person that I'm ever going to fall in love with or be with again. It's like there's this depravity type thought process in my mind, like everything's going to be taken away, so I better glob onto this guy, or or hang on so tightly that they want to go away, get away
Yeah.
from
So
me.
you're basically losing your sense of identity to an unhealthy degree.
Terrible. I don't, I do what they want. I think the way they want. I try to please them, and I know it's not right, but I can't really stop it. It's just like something that's inbred in me from my childhood. I don't know how.
Yeah. And that's then, so there's, this cycle of codependency is actually very, very sneaky, right? Because if you know that you're in it, because now we know what it is, then you'd get out of it. But the key to releasing, the chains of codependency, they don't actually lie within the relationship.
No,
They depend on your internal habits, right? Uncovering and learning and changing your low self-esteem and the core wounds that you had that were fundamentally formed possibly back to when you were a child or from previous relationships. If we come from a negative and an invalidating family background, sometimes this seems normal.
yeah. I mean, I've been doing a lot of journaling about my childhood, and
Good.
there's no doubt where that comes from, but I don't know how to get rid of it. How did it get that neediness, get rid of it?
So sometimes, like again, and I spoke about this in the last group, is this concept of self-love and self-compassion. And I know I kind of hammered home is because it's true. And it's when we've been in a toxic relationship, all of that gets taken away from us, whether it's our parents, whether it's our children, whether it's our significant other or multiple significant others. Jeff, I'm sorry, you had your hand up.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to talk about that I kind of had an aha moment. Like with my nature, like I automatically want to, help out the other person to the point that, yeah, it's like my happiness is contingent on the other person's happiness. And I didn't realize that was like a kind of a succinct way to put codependency. And so I kind of almost always start out a relationship pretty healthy, but it's not long before I'm slipping into that codependency range. And anyway, but thanks for that.
So Jeff, hold on 1 second. So tell me what you would change.
Well, the fact that I'm focusing so much on the other person's mood, or if they're happy or not, and then if they are happy, then it's okay, everything's okay. But if they're not happy, then I need to be doing something to make them happy or something like that.
Do you feel like it's your fault that they're not happy?
I wouldn't say that I feel like it's my fault, but it's like I think from my childhood, like I'm sure it all comes from that I need to be doing stuff in order to keep love. I need to be performing or making sure that chores are done or performing or whatever. And if not, then anyway, so that's my default. That's where anyway, but thanks.
Okay. No, thank you for sharing. Yes, Kristen.
I'm like where Jeff is. and what he's saying. Like, if I don't, like, if my mom isn't happy with me, or if she's not happy, and then I'll ask her, is it me? And she says yes, then it's like, well, what can I do to fix it? And I'm constantly making sure that she's happy, because if she's not, normally it's me, and I have to do something or change something to make her happy. But she's the narcissist in the family.
I understand. Thanks for sharing. Hey,
Yeah.
Lonnie and Tracy, Judy, thanks for being here. And Lolita, thanks for joining. Let me ask you guys a question. What happens when your family never validates your feelings, encourages you to communicate your ideas, maybe doesn't help you discover your uniqueness? What happens? Yes, Hope.
Well, that happens to me on a daily. It's very discouraging, but I push through it anyhow.
Thank you. Kate, what happens?
I relate to exactly what you just said, Christine. You go down a rabbit hole.
Tell me what that means to you.
Wow, that is huge. You're completely destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Christina.
You're welcome.
I went into a really low grade depression. And since I've been doing some really deep trauma work, I'm seeing that now as I work through my childhood, like reparenting my inner child and just doing EMDR. Like, so I notice now that I've had this low grade depression my whole life because I've literally been trying to make sense out of nonsense.
Okay. I can appreciate that. Eden.
Yeah, I feel like very insecure because it's like I kind of resonate with the other people say. It's like we always fighting with ourselves what's going wrong. Like it's like I always like make sure my mom was happy. Like in fact, now I realize takes me years to find out, but it's better than never, right? But
Yes.
like we find out like they put their insecurities on us.
Yep.
Because
that's called projection.
Exactly. And then we grow up, we become adults, we don't know, we feel like so insecure.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
so overwhelmed, and then we sabotaging ourselves for a long time, and we're struggling with that.
Yep. Thank you. Hey, Judy.
Hi everybody. I just wanted to ask a question about what somebody said a minute ago. You were asking the question about somebody feeling somebody else's happiness and if you feel like it was your fault. Well, I don't ever in the relationship I was in, my marriage, he thought it was my responsibility to make him happy, although I knew better. And I don't necessarily feel it was my fault for not making him happy because it was an impossible task. But I did notice that my mood, when he was happy, I feel so relieved, and it was like, instantly, like things went back to normal. But when he wasn't happy, I got nervous and anxiety because I knew it was, once he's getting out of this mood, what's going to happen next? Is that a normal reaction?
I think it's a normal reaction when you're
a narcissist,
I think it's a normal action when you're in survival mode, when you're trying to keep the peace.
Well, that's been like most of my marriage, and now I've had no contact going on about, I don't know, 3-4 months, maybe 4 months, and I'm still like not completely relaxed. I mean, it's nice to come home to peace, but
it's going to take time, honey.
Yeah.
It takes time.
Thank you.
But it's a very normal response to a very abnormal thing.
Thanks.
Yeah. Lolita. Is your mic off?
I was, sorry, I'm driving.
It's okay.
I had my hand up in order to respond to your previous question, which you were asking if you pretty much weren't validated by your family, what you thought it would do to the person. And my answer is it affects your self-esteem.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, yes, yes. And honestly, everything that everyone was saying really, really is, they were talking about their self-esteem. People said they went down a rabbit hole. Other people said that they detached. This is what low self-esteem looks like. Thank you, Lilia. Hope.
I was wondering, is it like placating the abuser? Is it like fawning? Is that the response that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it could be, I mean, it depends on where you're at. If it really does, depends on the situation. But when you're in survival mode, anything goes, right?
Yeah.
So this lack of self-esteem manifests, right? It manifests into toxic and codependent relationships. Okay. It's what started it. It's like sort of like the match that started the fire. Because people who struggle with low self-esteem are accustomed to getting caught up in the cycle of negative thoughts and patterns. Right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we don't even realize it because we are so used to it. We were brought up this way. We've been married for so long. It's been this way since day one. I'm not used to anything else. And this is why it takes a long time for that, who was just talking there that said that there was coming home to peace. Who was that? Did she leave?
I think it might have been Kate or Eden.
I can't remember. Sorry, guys. What I wanted, she said we've been no contact for a few months now, but you still can't shake that uneasiness feeling, right? It's because and I say we because I relate to every single one of you, have this deep-seated core belief that we are never going to be successful, that we're never going to be loved, we're never going to be happy. Therefore, when we face challenges in different areas of our lives, what automatic thought do you think comes first? What automatic negative thought? What ant comes crawling in?
We're bad.
Keep going. Come on, guys, shout it out.
Like you're gonna fail.
Fear.
Keep going.
Yeah,
I'm not enough.
Right? Impending doom.
Yep.
Bad at love. Bad at love.
Bad at love. How about I'm not worthy?
I'm not worthy.
Yeah, I'm not worthy.
100%.
I'm not enough.
I'm not worthy. I feel the same thing.
Trying hard enough.
Right? So in response to these negative thoughts, our brain is accepting these as truths because we have heard it for so long. And it translates almost into our personal beliefs. Even when things are going right, we think, fuck, shit, I can't do this, or there's no way I could possibly do that. Automatically. So again, with people who struggle with self-esteem, we desperately need the affection and validation from another person because we feel like we can't get it from ourselves. So in order to start thriving beyond, what do we need to do?
Build our self-esteem.
Yeah. So in the last session, we talked about the differences between self-esteem and self-confidence, right? And I was saying that they definitely overlap, but they're also very different. Self-esteem refers to whether or not you appreciate and value yourself. And self-esteem will change over the course of time as a result of your life experiences and as you interact with certain types of people. Our self-esteem can either be high or low. Does that make sense? Yeah. And self-confidence is our belief in ourself and our ability. Right? So they're two totally different things, although they do work together. But when we have low self-esteem and very low self-confidence, where do you think our self-love is? Our ability to say good things to ourselves, our ability to validate ourselves. Where do you think it is?
Not very high.
Yeah. So we have to learn to express our emotional needs assertively, putting ourselves first, making sure that we know that my very first, let me go back. My very first affirmation I do with you guys at the end of groups is I come first. And that's not narcissistic, people. That's just factual. Because if you don't take care of you, You can't be a good partner. You can't be a good child. You can't be a good, brother or sister or coworker or whatever you want, or friend. We need to start taking care of ourselves. And sometimes, the thought of, putting ourselves first is excruciating because we're not used to it. And we just don't want to. That's where the self-love comes in, the self-care. And, self-care, listen, people get their hair done, they get their nails done, guys go out for beer with their friends, they play pool, they shoot darts, they go golfing, whatever it is you do. But is that really changing the inner you?
No.
Mm-mm. So this is where we go into this deep dive. In order to start healing, we have to start recognizing, that we need to start finding validation, love, and acceptance from within ourselves. And that's a really hard thing to do. Yes, Sharon?
No. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to love yourself first.
Right? And because sometimes we can't find this validation and love and acceptance within, that's probably the reason that, well, in my opinion, it's the reason that we stay in relationships that aren't good for us.
That's correct.
Because deep down, what do we fear?
Being alone.
Yep. Being alone.
Yes. Not being worthy of anything.
Rejection.
Yep. So, yes, Judy, sorry.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, like, I know self-care, taking care of ourselves is very important, and I don't really struggle with that. But one of the things that I had to do with my soon-to-be ex was his family was very toxic, and they were toxic not just to him but to us as a couple and to me as a they're very controlling, and they want to dictate everything, and the siblings were causing their sisters always fighting over the brother, and it was just a toxic situation. And I had a therapist time, and I got rid of the toxicity out of my relationship by like just stepping away and not having very little contact with him. And one sister just completely cut contact because they were not healthy people, and they were not healthy for me or my husband. It's also one of the fly monkeys for my husband, who could not stand to be disconnected and caused a lot more problems when I did that. And I guess my question is that appropriate to, like, I mean, it wasn't like a competition. It wasn't like I was like, I can't be around them, but you go if you want to. But then that would create more problems because they would start stuff about me not being around and can get in his head. You know what I mean? And he couldn't take a stand. And is that inappropriate to ask your spouse to stay away from toxic people or put their wife and their marriage before their their parents or even siblings?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That's what I thought too. But then, when the tables just turned and I was like, I haven't talked to this one person forever, 3 years, and she's still trying to start drama, because he was talking to her, but he couldn't, like, he just couldn't find that balance. It was like, and then the lies, and then the drama, and then, the excuses, and then it just caused a lot of problems. But as a result, I felt better, but it made everything worse by doing that. But I did, that was my boundary.
Yep. Good for you. That's a good boundary. I'm sorry. Who else just had their hand up? Was it Judy?
No, it was Lolita.
Hi, Lolita.
Hi. I feel like I'm behind in a conversation here, but when you were discussing what we were afraid of, issues as like being afraid of being alone, my fear is a little different.
Okay.
What I am afraid of is attracting another narcissist or toxic relationship. So when I say that I feel I'm bad at love, that's why, because I just seem to pick the wrong people.
Okay. Yeah. No. You're on track. That's basically what this segment of this is about why we continue to choose the people we do, or why why we continue to be in this circle, this cycle. Yes, Anne.
Yeah, I missed it because I went to the bathroom. But you mentioned something about, I don't know, something like radical self-love or something like that, whatever it is that we needed so that we can love ourselves first, I guess. What was it?
Gosh, you have my brain is in a tizzy. Hold on a second. Let me think. Maybe I did say radical self-love, but either way, self-love is what we need to begin to start to heal, because we can't, if we don't love ourselves, then what do we have to look forward to in trying to heal ourselves?
How do you do that? That's the question.
So we're getting there. We're getting there. So all of us have some sort of core wound that we need to get past, right? And this is, a deep-seated emotional injury. They result from neglect, abuse, internalized experiences, abandonment, traumatic events. And as we grow up and as we experience other relationships, the overall quality of our life is often affected with this, right? We have the shame wound. Maybe you were publicly embarrassed or shamed as a kid. You might feel socially anxious. You might feel ashamed of your actions, choices, maybe your interactions. The judgment wound. This core emotion wound occurs after you've been harshly judged, maybe criticized. It manifests itself sounding like, I feel like everyone else does better than me, or I feel like I can't be myself in front of other people. We have the betrayal wound. If we couldn't rely on our parents or our caregiver, or even our partner, we become afraid to open up to other people because we may think that they're going to hurt us again, right? That manifests in phrases such as, I don't trust anyone, or I feel like I'm always waiting for the floor to drop out from underneath my feet. We have the rejection wound. And this is feeling rejection, whether it's from a child, adolescence, or even in these relationships that we're talking about. You may struggle with what looks like low self-esteem, right? Fear of failure, constantly trying to seek validation. Then we have the abandonment wound. This is where you cling to people because you feel like they're going to leave you. This can sound like, I'm not worthy of being loved. That's why people leave me. And then we have the unlovable wounds. So I just kind of jumped the gun there. This is the most difficult wound to heal, actually. If you had been mistreated as a child, adolescent, or even in this, so I'm assuming that everyone's here for emotional abuse, psychological abuse, right? That's a harmful, very toxic kind of environment. And this feeling of being unworthy of love is really, really hard to heal because it is so deep. So the first thing we have to do in order to start self-love, to start healing, to start changing, right, our behaviors, to even, whether we think we attract them, they attract us, doesn't really matter. The first thing we need to do is acknowledge that wound. Do any of those wounds relate to you guys, or even a couple of them? Yeah? Anyone else relate to them? So when we have these wounds and they're not healed, we attract people, or we are attracted to people who may feel like they're going to activate that wound for you. They're going to help heal it. So I ask you, if we acknowledge this wound, instead of pretending it isn't there, acknowledging its very painful reality, you're taking off the mask and you're being truthful with yourself. A lot of times, emotional abuse and psychological abuse comes with shame. And you guys are all here for the same reason, trying to heal. There is no shame. So I ask you guys to acknowledge that wound, think about it, and allow yourself to feel. These emotions that you're feeling right now, if you're doing it now, are probably really painful, uncomfortable. That's only, acknowledging them for a short time doesn't lead to healing, right? But not acknowledging them leads to depression, leads to anxiety. And the other part of this is in knowing who you are, is exploring your attachment style. If you know what your attachment style is, that's great. If you don't, sorry, I did it in my last session. I don't have time to be able to do that all over again. But we need to start knowing who we are in order to start changing. Let me ask you guys, I'm going to poll the room. And so I'm going to go around. So hold your hearts in your hands to yourselves until I'm done. If I call your name and you don't want to speak, you don't have to. Carolyn, how often do you doubt your views, or your ideas, or even your personal competence? Eden, how often do you doubt your views, your ideas, your personal competence?
Very low. I'm not sure. I'm not very low because I'm hearing you, and you're so true. I don't know the answer, to be honest.
Okay, you're good. Carolyn, I saw your mic go on. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you repeat what you just asked? I'm sorry.
How often do you doubt your ideas, your views, your personal competence?
Fairly often now. I didn't used to, but I do often now, because I've been in a relationship where I'm told I'm wrong all the time. And if anybody, or me especially, tells my spouse he's wrong, then there's a huge issue.
Oh yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, I doubt them a lot now.
Okay. So listen, I want you guys to remember your answer, because after this, we're going to do our personal bill of rights, and I want you to pay attention. Okay. Christina, how often do you doubt your views, your ideas, and your personal competence?
I have to go back to what Carolyn said, like, from the relationship that I just got out of. It's not as much as I thought it would be, because I don't think he got to, I let him get to the point where he completely overtook me in terms of brainwashing, gaslighting, and manipulation. So really, I don't doubt my competence or my views that often. I think what I more so struggle with is like attachment styles and abandonment.
Okay. Thanks. Sharon, what about you?
Normally I wouldn't be doubting myself, but just lately I have doubted quite a bit. And that's not like me usually.
Okay. You're being honest. Thank you. Chelsea, what about you?
I'll have to say, before my relationship, I felt more like I didn't doubt myself, more confident. Now I'll have to say I do have some doubts. So I'll have to say a little often now, to be honest.
That's okay. Yeah. Thank you. Rebecca. Selena.
I would like to say that I do this. I doubt myself daily, almost daily. Probably one out of every once a week. I don't.
Okay. Thank you. Jeff, what about you?
Daily, 3 times a day.
Okay. Kate.
I can relate to like what everybody is saying. I can relate to the last people who just spoke. I do this almost daily and like all the time. So
thank you. What about you, Diana?
Whenever I'm in a relationship.
Okay. So only when you're in a relationship.
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay. Caroline. Judy, how often do you doubt your views, your ideas, or your personal competence?
Very rarely, to be honest with you, because I'm very conscious of the choices and decisions that I do make. And if I feel I'm making something out of poor judgment, I'll like seek out help before I act on it. So I truly can say that I've been really working on that skill and I can tell a big difference. So I'm not doubting my judgment or my decisions these days.
Great. Wonderful. Good for you. Thank you. Tracy, what about you?
Because of the relationship, I'm pretty doubtful of a lot and very low self-esteem.
Okay. James.
The same, just an everyday thing.
Okay. Thank you. Lolita. Anne.
Me, it's daily, multiple times a day.
Multiple times a day. Okay. Lolita, go ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute. I would say 25% of the time
Okay.
I doubt because I know that I overthink. So
Okay.
25% of the time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Joe, how about you?
I'm in the car. Sorry if you can't hear me.
It's okay. I can hear you.
I doubt. I kind of doubt myself sometimes if I have a knee-jerk reaction and I just do something. It's like I doubt my gut feelings sometimes. But also I feel like I'm an underachiever. I know that I can do better, and I tend to break myself down because I don't do better when I know I can do better, if that makes any sense.
It does. Thank you. What about you, Susan?
I doubted myself when I settled for and was in and then just left an abusive relationship. But these days, I don't doubt my competence at all. But I do expand it and continue to grow. I would say my views and ideas, however, I question. I don't doubt myself, but I do want to continue to grow and expand. So I listen to other viewpoints regularly.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Yep.
Candace, what about you?
All the time, and on a daily basis. It's a constant for me.
Okay. Janet.
Hello. I'm very confident, but my relationship, I let him override my thoughts, and I'm usually a people pleaser. So for the most times, even though I know my decisions are good and I am very rational, I let other people override me. So I always put myself last. Thank you.
Thank you. Lonnie. Roman, how often do you doubt your ideas, your views, your personal competency? Hope. Myra, how often do you question yourself or doubt yourself? I should say, I'm saying doubt yourself. Oops, she's gone. Oh, she's there. Go ahead.
Are you talking to me, Myra?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
This week I haven't been doubting myself often. Last week I doubted myself a lot. And it's only because I've been preoccupied with a great friend who has been here visiting. It really does vacillate back and forth. And when I am in the healing process right now, I'm doubting myself a lot. It's just what I've been doing. And it's good. It's good. I'm challenging myself. I'm looking at myself. But it does wear me out.
I'm sure
but it's good. But it's good. I have to honestly say I love hate it.
Okay, that's perfect. That's honest and perfect. Thank you. So for those of you who are new to me, this is the Personal Bill of Rights. I want you to pay attention and see what resonates with you, because I will take your hands afterwards. I have a right to ask for what I want. I have the right to say no. I have the right to express all my feelings, positive or negative. I have the right to change my mind. I have the right to make mistakes, which means I'm not always perfect. I have the right to follow my own values and beliefs. I have the right to say no to anything I'm not ready for, something that's unsafe, or if it conflicts with my values. I have the right to determine my own priorities. I have the right to not be responsible for the actions, feelings, behaviors of other people. I have the right to expect honesty from others. I have the right to be angry with someone I love. I have the right to be uniquely myself. I have the right to express fear. I have the right to say I don't know. I have the right to say I don't care. I have the right to not give excuses or reasons for my behavior. I have the right to make decisions based on my feelings. I have the right to my own personal space and time. I have a right to be healthier than those people that I surround myself with. I have the right to feel safe and not be in an abusive environment. I have the right to make friends and be comfortable around people. I have the right to change and grow. That includes changing my mind. I have the right to have my wants and needs respected by other people. I have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. And lastly, I have the right to be happy. Tell me something that resonated with you guys. Myra.
Every one of them. Those are awesome. Is there any way we can get a copy of those? Because every one of those is true.
I will try to put it in the chat, but you'll have to get it before I close the group.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Eden.
All of them. Yeah. Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome. Hope.
I have the right to be angry with someone I love.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Who's next? Judy.
I like the one where you have a right to make mistakes because, we aren't perfect and we are going to make mistakes. But my favorite one is that I have a right. Oh, gosh. I have a right to change my mind because I feel like that's the only way we can learn and grow. And I think this is a process, and therefore allowing myself to feel how I'm feeling is and acknowledge my own feelings, but yet I don't have to stay stuck in that feeling. So I really like that one.
Thank you. Anne, what about you?
I like most of them. I was taken aback by the right to not give excuses for my behavior. I felt like, well, at least how I understood it, I should be able to explain why I'm acting a certain way to certain people, but I don't know.
Thank you. Hey, Kate.
Hi. Yeah, every single one of those were so amazing. And yeah, I can resonate with every single one of them. Also, like I felt like it felt so powerful to have someone say all of those things. So I've never had I say I've never been in a room or but I really I haven't. I've never been with someone and they've said all those things, and I couldn't believe how powerful it was. So thank you so much, Christine. That was amazing.
You're welcome so much. That's my job. Yes, Susan.
All of them, and thank you for those. And yeah, I'd love a copy of them too.
So
I would say
they're already in the chat.
I would say the ones that most, I just got off the phone with my daughter, and not to make excuses, and to have time for yourself. She's going to talk to someone, and I think she's an empath too, who just talks at her. So she gave it an hour, but then she said she has a meeting, and I said, you don't have to make up, reasons why you have to get off the phone. You can just say, I have until 6:30 and then I have to go. So don't put that burden on yourself to have to lie. Just, it is what it is. You don't owe people explanations. But the one that resonated least with me, and I'm still trying to chew on it, is that I have the right to be healthier than those around me. I'm not necessarily wanting to surround myself with anybody that's less healthy. I get the concept, though. I understand.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? James.
So all of them stuck out to me, but one of them, like two of them in particular, I have the right to be angry because I don't allow myself to get angry. And it's weird because as a boxer, you would think you get angry all the time, but society doesn't allow you to get angry, especially when you're in a safe place. and so I won't allow myself to get angry. And two, yeah, I'll just stick to that.
Thank you, James. Christina.
I think the one where you said, I have a right to say I don't care, um, that triggered all the things in me with around being a people pleaser. Because I've always been taught to be responsible. And it's like, well, if I say I don't care, that means I'm irresponsible. And also, if I say I don't care about someone, that means that I'm not pleasing them. All kinds of triggers went off on, but it was really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sharon.
I've heard those before and I forgot all about that. And every single one of those is true. You have to have that. You have to be able to say that you can do those things. And I do need a copy of that again.
So it's in the chat already.
Okay.
Oops, I just lost the whole screen. Are you guys still there?
We're here. I'm here.
Oh my gosh, I can't see anything at all.
I can't see anything either.
Oh wow. Well, so what I want you guys to remember the most is that, it's not our fault that we find ourselves in toxic relationships. We have to understand our role, right? One of the first things I always ask people, I ask, number one, when they come to me, I ask, what does your support system look like? And then I say, what are you accountable for? And some people misinterpret that to mean that I think that it's something's your fault. That's not at all what I mean.
No, I know you do. That's how they should take it.
And we all have responsibility. And these are essential for healing. So when you guys find the strength to start moving forward, from this place of humility, we are going to learn to start to heal. So I am going to go. I'm going to close this group now, guys. I will be back in a few minutes. I'll be back at 6:00 with Zip It Inner Critic. I like to do these back to back. So hopefully I will see you all. I apologize for the screen going on the fritz, but I'm going to close this group now. Thanks so much for being here, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Christine? Are you still there?